Company. This is Peters Engineering, and what you're looking at is the web client you heard me talk about. Now, this is where you'll do most of your work. You can access this, as I mentioned, via browser from anywhere in the house, if you have wireless, or out in the car, as I mentioned, if the kids have driven you out there along the way. Let me give you a tour of how this window looks. Watch my mouse on the left side over here. Everybody has an in basket or a document tray at the office. You have one here in the web client. And you'll notice there are Excel documents, PDF, all sorts of documents. It works with over 250 file formats. On this side over here, we have your electronic file cabinets. Now, Peggy Jenkins works in accounting for this roller coaster company, so she's only seeing the cabinets that she spends her time in. If she was in HR or something else, those cabinets would appear as well. If I open up a document, you're going to see it appear on the right side, and I have all the usual fun things you're used to with Microsoft Office working with that document, as well as, let's start across the top. I can do searching for documents I've got stored out there. You heard me talk about working from lists electronically. Peggy takes care of contracts for the company, and you can see she's got 4 active contracts that she needs to deal with, and there's some unsigned delivery notes out there. Now, Peggy also works with workflow when it comes to the invoices that flow through the company, and I can click here, and she can either look at her own task or even monitor everything that's going on out there, where her invoices are and who's looked at them and what have they done to them. Now, for those who are not real fond of technology, we even have a folder structure much like Windows. Let's go back to the document tray, and I want to show you some easy ways to get information in. I could hit the import button, and I could go out and pull in just about anything I want from here. Let's grab that one. Word documents and work with anything pretty much that's there. I do have folks now that are choosing to scan at home as we start to ramp up a document management solution for them, and they're going to bring in everything. They said to me, we've got the people. We can do the scanning now, and then we'll build the solution at the same time and then bring everything in. So there's easy ways to do that. I can hit scan directly in with a document scanner. I could, even when I'm back in that office again, have a copier with a hot button on it that drops it into a watched folder and automatically brings it in here. Oh, and of course, there's always drag and drop into the inbox as well. So you have a lot of flexibility when it comes to bringing information in. Now, if I'm going to store something, I'm going to open this up over here. I'm going to choose the cabinet I want it to go to. I'm going to hit store, and the index information that I've already selected ahead of time, these are the bits and pieces of information I want to pull from all of my invoices, appear on that left side. Watch the mouse on the right. This is my favorite. It's called point and click. Look at that, pops right in, invoice, and we need a number here. We need an order number and the date, and we're off and running. Let me hit date again. There we go. And I can hit store, and now I can find it by any of those means that you see there. It's a wonderful, easy way to do it. What it's doing is it's reading what we call OCR, optical character recognition. The only rule is it has to be a machine-created document for that to work on that. Of course, there's that automated indexing and so forth. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I want to make one more trip out. Do you ever have folks in your office that usually print things out just to put them back in again? So what I'm going to do is let's take a look at this document on the desktop here. And I'm going to hit print, but rather than sending it to a printer or a copier in my office, I'm going to send it into the software electronically. Now, if it hasn't seen this before, it's going to put it in my document tray, so I will index it and store it when it hits there. If it's invoices that are always the same coming in, I can create a template and tell it to pull those pieces of information that you already saw me do that way. So there's a variety of things you can do that. We have a city that uses this with their water bills, for example. They send a hard copy to the printer to mail out to the folks in town, and the rest goes into the software for storage. So you have a lot of flexibility, no more printing out to scan back in sort of a scenario. Let's take a look at something called intelligent indexing. We were working with a client who had 100 plus invoices coming in a week, and they said, the problem is they're all different. We don't want somebody to have to go through and index every single one of them. So we suggested something called intelligent indexing. What happens is all those invoices are scanned into this special document tray. They go to the cloud. The cloud looks at it and goes, oh, I've seen that invoice from that company before. And I'll pull all the information for the indexing automatically from there. And I'll let you know that it looks good because I'll put a green box in the corner. Yellow box in the corner means I've got most of it. I need your help. And red means, hey, this is new. Never saw it before. So let's open up that first one and take a look at that. And what I mean by learned is that we're going to help it a little bit, know where to find the information on the document. Now, this one looks good, and I'm going to hit store, but you'll notice it pulled everything from the document automatically. I didn't have to do that. By the way, this is subscription, or it's included with a cloud free. Let's go take a look at the yellow one that says, you know what? I need some help. I got most of it, but I need your help. And what it's going to do is when I show it where that information is on the document, the next time it comes back, it'll be a green box. Oh, looks like we're missing the company information. Watch the mouse on the right. Peters Engineering, boom. Store, and we're off and running. It makes it really easy for that. That's called intelligent indexing. So that solves the problem with all those odds and ends of things coming in that are not alike. Now, you'll notice things have been changing up here in Peggy's workflow. Let's take a look at what's changed. She's got more cost centers that need to be assigned to invoices. She needs to check an invoice and pay an invoice. Let's take a look at this one. Look familiar? And what pops up down below is a cost center. Now, if she likes what she sees, she can hit confirm and send this into the workflow onto the next person, who will then need to approve it or reject it. If they reject, they're asking for a reason as to why they're rejecting it. I'm going to hit confirm and send this on its way. And you'll notice the next one pops right up and away it goes from there. Very simple workflow. Everything's designed behind the scenes, and even to the point, if the person she's sending it to is out of the office, it can be redirected to somebody else. If it's a certain dollar amount, it skips that first person in mid-management, goes to the higher management person. All of this can be customized. It's absolutely wonderful. Now, we talked about email and what a challenge that has been for a lot of people, keeping things in their inboxes. Here's the wonderful part about software. I can choose what needs to be stored. Let's open up this invoice from the phone wizard that Peggy got in. I'm going to go up here and I have a choice. I can either copy the email, I can move it, just take the attachment only, or I've set up some dialogues. I can say, you know what, this I want to move into my workflow and I want you to store it that way. But let's just copy it for right now. And I'm going to hit the store button on the left up there. And what you're going to see is index information that has been pre-designed popping up. And it looks like we're missing the company. But look at this. We lost it. It went behind. There it is. Let's minimize this. That's funny. Oh, it disappeared. Let's try it again. It disappeared on us here for some reason. But basically what's going to happen is that when I go to fill it in, it is... let's see here. Let's have some more fun. Action required. Do you like this? This is actually even better. I'll tell you why. Because this is the workflow. Do you think this controller is going to ignore this email? Probably not. But if we want to store it, I'd come up here, hit the button, and away it would go. And we'd find it stored automatically in there. So I'll tell you what, let's take a trip to another part of the roller coaster company. Let's go on to HR, because I know some of you folks are out there working hard and you are in HR. Simon Stone does HR for the company. And I want to show you forms here as this comes up. Simon has been talking to a gentleman named Peter Strom. There's been a number of emails moving back and forth across between them, and they have now offered Peter a job. As you can see here, they've sent an email to Peter and they said, you know, we're going to offer you the position. Would you fill out this form with information? Just click on the link. Now, here's the beauty of this. When the form comes up, he's going to fill in the information, but what's going to happen is that all that information is going to be submitted and put into the software, and his I-9 will automatically be filled out. Let's put in Peter's name here. His W-4, his beneficiaries, all of that is there. I'm not going to go down through this and fill everything out, but I do want to point out a couple of things on forms. These can all be customized to fit your needs and whatever you need to do. We can even put your stationery in there and make it look exactly like it's from your company. But I can make this dynamic by saying he must fill out Social Security number. If he doesn't, when he hits submit, I don't want you to let him send it through. Now, the other thing I know is required is this under gender. And let's see, he's a citizen, and I'm going to sign this down here. So it's now been signed electronically, and I'm going to hit submit and send that back into my workflow. So Simon in HR will be notified that the information is there. This tells our person who submitted that it's been done successfully. But let's do a search, because that's one of the things that we haven't talked about yet. My searching can be any number of things that I'm looking for. Did you notice something here? Simon has a task. Maybe we better take a look and see. That just popped up. Oh, the data is in, and we need to verify he does the information. Look at this. There's the I-9. So let's do this first before we go looking and put sales in there. That's who he's working for. Oh, let's give him 21 days of vacation and hit confirm. And you'll notice the task leaves his list. Okay, let's go back out to searching again. And you'll notice I click the magnifying glass here. Here are any number of ways that Mr. Stone can search for information related to HR. The interesting part of this is that this can all be customized to fit your needs. He happens to have quite a bit here, but he could do date range searches. He could do wildcard searches, or in this case, we're going to look for Mr. Strom and see what information happens to be out there. Notice this, a drop-down hit. I just hit search, and it's going to be bringing back a hit list of everything out there. Well, look at this. There's that email that was stored originally as things were moving back and forth. And as I scroll across, you'll notice there's the application. W-4, emergency contact, I-9, all from filling out that one form. Now, the other interesting thing that we can do, I'm going to go back and hit change search and hit reset, is that we also can do full text searching as well. What that means is searching within a document. So I'm going to go back to Peggy and show you that in a minute because there's some other things happening on that end. But first, let's take a trip out. I know a lot of people have third-party software out there that they are working with. The problem with that can be that they don't talk to each other, especially in our new remote environment. They're not talking back and forth. There was something unique in here called Smart Connect. And what it is the ability to talk between your document management system and that third-party software. Here at Peters Engineering, they use this accounting software. And what's happened is that a screenshot was taken of the screen that you're looking at. We told the software that you'll always find the first and last name right here. And when you do, and I hit a button that I've created, and I can put that button anywhere on the screen of my third-party software. By the way, folks, it does a screen scrape of information. It doesn't go internally. It's going to go out and find anything stored within the software. You'll notice I have a button for invoices in and invoices out. I can have any number of buttons. So this time it's looking for, Mr. Werner Mosier. Show me everything stored in the software for this gentleman, please. And we're going to go back to the web client. And you'll see something pop up here in just a minute. You know what's interesting? Did you notice the web clients all look the same? Except for the cabinets that they had the rights to see. Here's everything for them. Oh my goodness, there's Word documents, there's PDFs, there's a little bit of everything. And if I was doing a search and I'd say, you know what? I really needed the calculations is what I was looking for because I'm working in the accounting software. I could open that and away we would go. Let's take one last trip back to Peggy and see what's happening back at the accounting office as we log in. And you'll notice I have this set for automatic password to let me in, but you could make Peggy log in every time with her password that she goes in to the software if you wanted to. And in goes Peggy here. There we go. And security can be as tight as you want it to be. And as I mentioned, rights could be by role. It could be by their position in the company. Let's go back down to our web client here. And let's go back over here. We've got our document trays. Do you notice? Look at this. Things have changed in her task list. Things have been approved, sent through, and so forth. But what I really wanted you to see, which I love here, is the searching mechanism. Do you notice how different this is compared to HR? There is less to look for. So again, keep in mind, customize, and usually simple is best. I talked about full text searching. You know, this is a roller coaster company. I bet we can find steel in here somewhere. Let's hit steel. Show me every document out there with steel in it. Okay. It told me these documents came back with steel. Let's open this up. And it's going to highlight every place you see the word steel. And I'm going to go over here, this magnifying glass with an arrow, and say, show me the next, and the next, and then on it goes. Where we see this used the most is people who have board minutes, documents that are full of text that they really need to search within. You store the document, and at any time you can go looking for a word, phrase, name, ordinance, whatever you're looking for. The only rule we have is it needs to be machine created. That's all. So that's our tour of Peters Engineering and the Roller Coaster Company. Jeff, I'm going to flip back to you. And what do we have for questions that have come in while I've been doing the presentation?
Sure, Mary, thank you. We do have a couple of questions that came in on the chat. The first one asks, how can you handle physical mail when employees are working from home? And the answer to that question is we can provide a centralized scanning solution, allowing a mailroom employee at the office to open, scan, and route the mail electronically, allowing remote users to access that information. And then the second question is, how do I handle limited VPN connections? With VPN, companies purchase a certain number of connections and license that number of connections. But in a situation like we have presently, everybody's trying to connect to the VPN. So not only are companies running out of licenses, they are running into bandwidth and capacity issues. So being able to move critical business information into a cloud-based solution offloads network traffic and licensing related issues.
Awesome. Any other questions that you see out there?
I don't see any other questions at the moment.
Okay, everyone. If you think of something after this is done, be sure to reach out to us at marketing@appliedimaging.com or 800-521-0983. Thank you for joining us today. Have a wonderful afternoon.